the 2022 World Junior Championship.
It's been a long road to get here. The teams arrived in Alberta in early December. They have been in lockdown basically since December the 15th. Daily testing, but here we are, day one of the World Junior Hockey Championship. Earlier today, Finland was a winner over Germany. The officials for today's game are Riku Brander from Finland, Mark Evert from Germany, the linesman Nick Briganti from the U.S., and Roman Slavakovsky from Russia. And for Team Canada, the visiting team today in goal, it is Dylan Garand, the 19-year-old from Victoria, BC, a Ranger fourth-round pick who signed his entry-level contract this week. And for the Czechs, it is 19-year-old Jakub Malek, who plays in their second league. Dave Cameron is back to coach the Canadian junior team for the second time. He was the head coach in 2011 in Buffalo, won a silver medal that year. Last 3 years, he's been the head coach of the Vienna Capitals in Europe. And Karel Mladenek is the head coach of the Czech national junior team for the second consecutive year. It all leads to the gold medal game January 5th, but to start things off, it's Canada and Czechia. Here we go.
Right, boys. Good. Hey, boys, wait for me, wait for me. Hey, boys, wait. Go out. Hey, boys, go out for the face, hey. Let's go. Go. Up.
They've been waiting a while to get going, so understandably some nerves.
Yeah, a few more seconds, and now off they go.
Canada's won the last 5 meetings against the Czechs, including the quarterfinal win last year. 3-0, the last loss for Canada in the 2014 tournament in Sweden. A pass for Jake Neighbors, who plays for the hometown Edmonton Oil Kings in the Western League. And back to pick it up is David Spacek, the son of former Oiler and many other NHL teams, Jaroslav Spacek, and he sends it down the ice. Icing called against the Czechs. And there is Cameron. Of course, in 2011, there was the collapse against the Russians in the gold medal game. He's talked about the fact that he's thought about that game many times, has not watched it.
Well, I guess he knows what the outcome was. You think about the game, you think what you might do differently, but if you spend too much time on it, I assume you just torture yourself. He's got another opportunity here with a whole different group of kids.
Mason McTavish, who began the year in the NHL and scored in his first National Hockey League game, won that face-off. He's lost his stick, however, trying to poke the puck free along the boards. At the line, kept alive and fired back in by Canadian captain Caden Gooley, one of 2 returnees from last year. And the puck loose along the boards, sent out by Stanislav Svozil. Czechs have 7 returnees from last year and 11 players who are playing in North America this year. Grabinets tries to work that freight. Maverick Bork digs it loose and plays it across to Lucas Cormier, the only Atlantic Canadian on this roster for Canada this year. Hails from New Brunswick.
Defenseman of the year last year in the Quebec Hockey League. Cormier had 54 points in 36 games last year. He's got 36 and 26 this year.
Cole Perfetti on the shoot-in for Canada, the other returnee from last year's team. And Owen Zellweger fires it back in. He's an Alberta native. There's lots of them on this team. 7 Canadian players are born in Alberta. Perfetti leaves it there for Shane Wright. That rolled off his stick and scooped up by Jakub Konechny. Fed back across by Donovan Sabrango. And that lead pass missed for Dylan Guenther. Another Edmonton Oil King spins it back in the corner. Guenther trying to work that free. Now Malat lost the puck to Denoyer. The puck flipped high in the air. And Konechny gathers it up at center ice, but thumped down there by Sabrango. Lead pass finds Guenther. Guenther down to Denoyer. Centering pass and tapped wide by Guenther. Out there with Will Cooley, now back at the point. Owen Power. Power works it in, sends it back across. Oh, hit the goalpost. Great chance there for Guenther to rang off the pipe. We welcome those of you who are watching Sweden and Russia. The Swedes a winner 6-3 in that game in Red Deer. Here, no score in the opening moments. Canada against Czechia. And that is what the Czech Republic has been asking to be called. International competition. Oh, what a move there, and a great chance for Jake Neighbors, turned away by Jakub Malak. Captain Jan Mysak for the Czechs, for Yuri Tahacek. And now Kolacek tries to slide that down. Pass missed Mysak. In comes Ridley Gregg. He was poke checked there by David Jiricek, number 5 for the Czechs. Keep an eye on him. He's draft eligible and a highly rated prospect for the 2022 NHL draft.
Yeah, many think he's going to be the first defenseman taken. He was terrific in the tournament last year. Great size, very decisive in his game.
Knocked down by McTavish at the line. Maverick Bork holds it. In comes McTavish. Works it free, works it back in. Can't get the backhand shot away. And McTavish back on it. Mason McTavish winds across the top. Oh, what a move there. Walks it and shoots, scores! Mason McTavish. What a solo effort. Gives Canada a 1-0 lead 4 minutes in.
McTavish had a couple of goals in the exhibition game against Russia. Also scored a couple of goals in the National Hockey League this year for Anaheim. 9 games in his NHL career, and here he scores a beauty as he hangs onto the puck all the way around the top of the zone. He slides this through the stick of Pavel Novak, and when he gets to the other side, he just rips this over the blocker of Malek, who's a little deep in the net, but that's a beauty from McTavish. He can really shoot the puck. It's all on display, and it's 1-0 Canada.
Scored his first NHL game, got sent back to junior, scored a hat trick in his first game back in Peterborough, and now in his first official game in this tournament, has a goal 4 minutes in.
He's going to be a load in this tournament. He's big and he's strong. He can really shoot the puck. 5 goals in the 4 games back in junior after Anaheim sent him back. Very happy with his early stint in the National Hockey League.
He didn't know he was going to make his NHL debut in the Ducks season opener. He skated with the scratches in the morning, but then found out when Max Jones got sick that he'd be playing that night. Scored against Winnipeg and played against this man, Cole Perfetti. In fact, McTavish had a goal and an assist and challenged Perfetti to a fight to try to complete the Gordie Howe hat trick. Zellweger shoots, and Malak makes the save. Perfetti declined, by the way.
That might have been a good move. Perfetti said he's never fought, so it's probably a good idea.
Orgo tries to center it. Here's Shane Wright on it. Likely to be the first pick of the upcoming National Hockey League draft. Zellweger knocks that down for Canada. Perfetti trying to keep it alive. And Zellweger picks up the puck at center ice. Zellweger from Fort Saskatchewan, just outside Edmonton, for Perfetti. Perfetti, a centering pass, and that's tipped wide as Gunther got a stick on that and just missed. Yuri Kulik. Got to move that up. Now Gunther back the other way. Both teams changing. Gunther tries to pull one around. And Jiricek just managed to knock him off the puck. Big hit in the corner by Will Cooley as he stepped into Tahacek. Pass at center ice is picked off by Jiricek. Drops it off, and that sharp angle shot taken there by Sebastian Malat. And he'll hang on as the faceoff will come outside. The Czechs knock the Canadian net off.
Now we'll get a look at Mason McTavish's goal here. There's a lot of things on display. First of all, the puck retrieval. Now it's the puck protection. Once he gets a little room, he knows he can attack. He's got the Czech defender Novak standing still, so he knows that's the point he's going to attack at. Head up, he's looking for where he can turn it in. It's right here to the dot. The goaltender Malek is deep in the net, but it doesn't matter. That's a beauty from Mason McTavish.
Native of Carp, Ontario, born in Switzerland. Actually, his dad played there. And last year, when the Ontario League didn't play, he went back to Switzerland. Took him a while to get a work visa, but he's able to play a little bit there. As a lot of players, especially from Ontario, scrambled to find places to play last year.
Well, you look at some of these kids, a lot of them played 5 and 7 games last year, just not just the Canadian spot, but the Europeans as well, as they scrambled back for places to play.
Caden Gooley, who fired that puck down the ice, played the World Junior last year, played just a couple of games in junior before he got hurt. Oh, and a big hit there as Neighbors stepped into his man and spilled him in the corner.
Neighbors had an excellent 9-game stint in St. Louis. Again, man, he ran over Jiricek again.
Here they come the other way, and a chance there for the Czechs. Ivan comes in, and the stop is made by Dylan Garand. Mason McTavish has opened the score, and Canada has a 1-0 lead on day one of the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship.
Part of this line with Greg and sort of is Jake Neighbors. He runs over David Juracek twice. Juracek's playing in the Czech Elite League, and he just got thumped twice. The second one led to this chance. That's a good save for Garand right prior to the commercial, as Neighbors maybe took a high stick as Juracek's stick was in two pieces after he ran over him the second time.
Puck loose behind the goal, knocked out by Zellweger. Lead pass for Bork, and Canada attacks quicker. That was knocked away from Kent Johnson. And back the other way comes Czechia, and that's rolled wide by Jakub Kos.
That's a couple of times Canada's defense has been up in the play, and the Czechs have chipped it behind them for a near chance.
Zellweger up for Johnson, who plays for the University of Michigan with Owen Power. Johnson tested positive in early December for COVID, but after serving a quarantine, was able to join the Canadian team. And that pass is knocked away by McTavish. Lead pass for Johnson. In comes Kent Johnson. The Port Moody native lost the puck. And it's brought back by Josef Kolacek. Kolacek shoots. He fired that wide. Perfetti on it. And Cole Perfetti trying to dig that free. It's knocked down by Power. And Garand leaves it there. Picked up by Ronan Seeley, the old Alberta native, a couple hours south of here. Seeley playing in the top pair now with Owen Power. And Power steps up, knocked away from him. Shane Wright back for Power. First time in 15 years the NHL's #1 overall pick into the league the next year. Power back to Michigan. Now a 2-on-1 for the Czechs, and a chance back across. Score! Oh, they're saying no. Michael Gut says the puck was in. Garand, did he make the save on that? Gut is looking back, saying the puck was in the net.
The way that puck bounced, it would be hard to believe that it went in. But they're going to take a look at it.
Now Perfetti shoots, and the save made by Malek. Here's Power on it. Power feeds it across, and a chance there for Sordiff, and Justin Sordiff rolled that wide. And the Czechs are gesticulating wildly on their bench, and that puck was in the net. So on the next stoppage, they'll take a look at this, and yeah, now they're gonna ring the horn. They've seen it.
It's in.
They know it's in. So this will be the tying goal for the Czechs, and a goal by Michael Gut.
As soon as they stop the play, now you know it's in. They've already looked at it. Again, for the third time in the period, Canada's been burned with a defenseman up in the play. As you see, the shot from Gut is going to hit the camera and middle bar and bounce straight out of the net. There's no way Garand's got any chance on this. Ronan Seeley had pinched up in the play. The Czechs with a pass that is tipped in the middle of the ice. It leads to that 2-on-1. A sweet feed from Bradanets across to Michael Gut. And Gut, who's in his second year in Everett, gets 7 goals there this year. He's got 1 here, and this game is tied at 1. So they'll go through the VO just to make sure. It'll be a quick look, as it's already been looked at. The monitor sitting right there. And
we talked about the number of Czechs who are playing in North America. He's one of the 11.
That fan's getting a look at the monitor in there. He might be the first guy to see it inside the building here. So this play is up in the neutral zone, and Seeley's caught up in the ice. There's 2 Czech players behind him. That leaves Owen Power back by himself. The initial pass goes across to Bradanets, and he zips it back on the backside of Power. If possible, that D has got to prevent the pass on the 2-on-1 from going side to side twice. If it goes once, it can't go back. However, Power's at a disadvantage here. And this puck is in the net. And they'll wind the clock back to put to put the time back on.
After video review, it was determined the puck completely crossed the line. We have a goal.
And so it's 1-1, and the clock will wind back. By the way, if someone had taken a penalty in the intervening time between the time the puck went and the net play was stopped, the penalty would still count.
Yeah, they don't give you any freebies for that. However, I always think about the guy that scores that gets it wiped off. It's so hard to score in the intermediate play, and they wipe it off. But the Czechs bounce back quickly. They've had a couple of good chances here. Off that long stretch pass, the Canadians are going to have a little discussion about who's covering who in the middle of the ice. They got beat twice. One of them ends up in the net.
The Czechs are pretty excited about their group this year. They've got 10 drafted players, and a young team, 11 can return next year, including Spacek, who has the puck now. David Spacek, whose dad was a piece of gristle in the NHL for 15 years.
He could play.
The Gecko, he was called, but now a centering pass and a chance in time for Cormier. And Malik got a piece of that, as once again, Lucas Cormier was into the rush.
Cormier scored in the pre-tournament game on the power play. He came in on the backside. He's got a really good feel about when to dive into the play. And here he finds it. Now look at the hands as he takes this on his backhand. Oh, a little bit unlucky as he had room up over top of Malik, and he ended up hitting him in the shoulder, but really nice hands from Cormier, a third rounder of Vegas in 2020. He almost got one there.
His sister Dominique is a first-year player at Princeton University, would have played in the women's under-18s that were scheduled in January in Sweden. Those and 5 other tournaments have all been canceled. A bitter disappointment for the players that were slated to play there. Now Desnoyers tried to poke that ahead for Connor Bedard, getting his first shift, the 16-year-old, the youngest player in the tournament. Brought in now by Urban. Tomas Urban spins it back in deep. Sabrango lost the puck to Pavel Novak, who plays for Kelowna in the Western Hockey League. That team's leading scorer for the 2nd straight year. Novak tried to slide that back, but Moravets had to retreat as Bedard was bearing in on him. Kolacek, that spun around on the corner. Bork came in on him, and now Kolacek brings it back out. Owen Power back to pick it up. Chipped ahead by Johnson. Now McTavish trying to find Johnson. Goes back to the point instead to Power. Cross he goes. Sealy brings it down to Bork, and a discarded stick got in the way. Now goes back to Power. In for McTavish. McTavish, a little head fake for Sealy, winding in, shoots. That just missed. And the puck skips off the end board. Power knocks it down. Owen Power. Back for Johnson. And Power. Back to Johnson again. Holds across the top. Kent Johnson has a look and shoots. It rolls down towards the front of the goal. Bork couldn't reach it. Johnson got it loose for McTavish. A long shift in the offensive zone here. And McTavish one-hands it across to Power. Power back for McTavish. Works in. McTavish still with a great move. Shoots. He reached that just wide. The other side. Johnson shoots. That's blocked. And the pressure continues. Bork with a shot. That's deflected away. And the Czechs finally bring it out as Stanislav Svozil sends it back down to the Canadian zone.
And Mason McTavish looks like he is way too strong for everybody in this game. He thumped a Czech forward in the corner. There he made that same move he scored on the goal, now on both sides of the ice.
Jaden Gooley traded to the Edmonton Oil Kings in early December from Prince Albert, so one of 4 Oil Kings playing in this tournament for Canada. And now a hand pass called at center ice. 9:14 to go here in the first period. Canada and Czechia tied at 1.
Time now for Let's Get Hungry, brought to you by Skip the Dishes. And Canadian captain Caden Gooley is hungry for some redemption this year in front of friends and family here in his hometown. Hailing from just outside of Edmonton in Sherwood Park, becomes the 3rd Montreal Canadiens draft pick to captain Team Canada. Guys, Eric Desjardins in 1989 and Kyle Chipchura in 2006.
Their choice played just 5 games last year outside of the World Junior. 2 in Prince Albert, 3 for Laval when the junior season ended. And he is with it now. Gouli fires that down. Bourgault goes after it. Xavier Bourgault. Look down to Perfetti. He missed on it. And it's scooped up by Yuri Kulik. Kulik taken down and a penalty coming to Canada as he was tripped down by Xavier Bourgault, and the Czechs will go to the power play with 8:55 to go in the first period.
Well, Bourgault takes the penalty as he's backtracking.
In Canada, 18, 2 minutes minor for tripping.
But the reason he's back-checking is Canada's D. This time Gouli is down the boards again, and that puts Canada into a foot race back into the play. Here's going to be the trip by Bourgault as Kulicek loses his balance. But again, there needs to be a little more cohesion between the forwards and the D, as that's several times Canada's D has been way deep in the play without any real support.
Power lead pass. That was knocked down and picked up by Jiricek, who plays in the Czech league for Pilsen. Historic club in that league. Dropped back by Novak, who will quarterback the power play up front. Loose puck at the side of the goal, and poking at it was Mishak. Couldn't quite reach it.
So much of this early part of the tournament is nerves and excitement, and you got to settle into your game. And so those mistakes that we're seeing from Canada on the reads in the middle, some of that is just communication. The guys have to settle into the game, because you all run around and want to make the great play early when really a great play is not needed yet. That's part of the unpredictability of this tournament. It is every year.
Jiricek swings it back across. Novak shoots, scores! Pavel Novak, power play goal, and the Czechs have taken the lead.
Face-off win, a one-timer, and Pavel Novak, who plays in Kelowna, 13 goals in 24 games this year for Kelowna. His second year in Kelowna, although he went home last year when the junior season was paused. The Czechs get help on the draw. It's a tied draw. Kulicek jumps in to help out, and Jiricek's pass is on the tee. Novak doesn't move more than a stride. It hits the pipe, the back of Garand, and it's in the net. The 2-1 Czech lead on the power play goal.
So a Canadian team that scarcely faced any adversity last year until the gold medal game faces some now.
Good point. They didn't trail until the 1-0 goal in the first period of the gold medal game. At no point were they ever trailing in a game. Here we are 12 minutes in, and they trail the Czechs.
Zellweger tries to poke that free. He's tied up there by Kulik. And the puck loose in front again. Kulik couldn't quite reach it. And here is Kent Johnson. His outlet pass is picked off by Mikhail Gut. Sends that rink wide. Gut and Novak have the 2 goals for the Czechs. 2 Western Hockey League players. And away comes Bork. Canada brings in 4 wide. Bork sends it in for McTavish. In on spot check. McTavish stepped into him. Back at the point. Held by Sabrango. Kulik tries to work that free. Knocked away from Johnson. And Gut plays it back across for Svozil. Stanislav Svozil goes between the legs and shoots, scores! Svozil roofs it over Garand, and it's 3-1 Czech Republic.
The third Czech goal, the third one scored by a player playing in major junior hockey, is Stanislav Svozil, who plays in Regina. His first year in Regina, makes a sweet move around Zellweger as he goes between his own feet, and then will beat Garand up on the short side off the 31 into the top of the net. 2 goals in 51 seconds, and Dave Cameron wisely calls a timeout to get everybody to take a breath and get back to playing. Now you're starting to panic and run around a little bit. You make a mistake. Garand gives up one he doesn't like, but it's a beauty by Stanislav Svozil.
Another Western Hockey League player, plays for Regina in the Western League. So Cameron wants to talk it over. He was an assistant coach on the Canadian team in 09 for one of the most famous timeouts ever called by a Canadian coach, by Pat Quinn. Canada down 3-0 to the U.S. in the first period on New Year's Eve against the United States. Quinn called timeout and told a joke. Unlikely that happened here, but Canada didn't come back and win that game 7-4.
Look at the open ice again now as the puck was won on the short side boards, and when it went across to Svozil, he had all kinds of room to attack Zellweger. Beats him with a sweet move through his feet. And now Canada's got to chase the game a bit.
Knocked down now by Bourgault. Xavier Bourgault. So backhand shot. Malik down. Perfetti digging. The puck stayed out as Malik kept that in. And now a long shot. They score from the point. It's Power. Malik was down. And Canada's drawn back within a goal.
Oh, this is a wild first period here. 5 goals in 13 minutes. Jakub Malek never gets out of the net here. It's strong play by Bourgault, and then Perfetti drives into the net, and you see Malek's trying to get up. He's in the net. And now he's like, oh, I better get up here. But it's a short side shot off the one on his elbow. Owen Power just flings this at the net. It deflects off the goaltender into the net. 23 seconds after it's 3-1, it's now 3-2. Be interesting if the Czechs challenge this.
They're looking at it and talking to the official.
Looks like they're going to let it go. As Cole Perfetti drove the net, he collided with the goaltender, and he was slow to his feet. Owen Power zings it at the net, and it's now 3-2.
So a 5-goal first period so far. Cormier leaves it there to Gouli. Gouli lifts that ahead. Neighbors chops it there for Ridley Gregg. Ottawa Senators' first round pick. Sends it back in. Back to pick it up is Jakub Kos. Lead pass for Tomas Urban, who got squeezed off the puck there by Gouli. Cormier back to pick it up. Cormier across to Gouli. Sherwood Park, Alberta native. For Neighbors, who fires that down. Malek lifts it high off the glass, but Neighbors sealed the glass and knocked it down. Zellweger stepped up. Kolacek finds Mishak. In comes Jan Mishak. Drops to the treader. Svozil working in. Svozil holds. Garand down. He threw that through the crease, and that just missed. Kolacek lost the handle. And Bourgault brings it in. Xavier Bourgault with a chance. Moves in. Drops it back. Kolacek knocked it free. And it's back down to the Canadian zone.
Back-to-back shifts with dangerous moves by Bourgault. Helped set up that first goal as he drove the puck into the paint, and there, a nice move to create a scoring chance.
Bourgault was tied for the Quebec League goal-scoring lead when he left for the Canadian camp. Here comes Mishak back again. Drops it back, and that long shot taken by Jiricek is gloved by Dylan Garand. It's been a wild first period. Owen Power's got Canada back within one.
When Power's goal, we better look at it quick before we miss another one. Perfetti goes to the net, and Jiricek trips him up. Now he runs into the goaltender, Malek, who is now going to try and get up. He's trying, when he picks up his stick, I think he's all tangled up. It's the Perfetti got out of the crease, though. He was not interfering with the goaltender anymore, and Owen Power's got his first of the tournament.
Power out there now. Those two players, Perfetti and Power, trying to join Patrice Bergeron is the only three players it would be in history to win a World Junior gold medal after winning a World Championship. Bergeron won gold at the World Championship in 04, gold in 05 at the World Junior. Perfetti and Power were both members of Team Canada at the World Championship in Latvia last spring.
And Power played himself into a prominent role on that team. And Said he wanted to improve his offensive game this year. He watched a lot of video of himself, and he's all over the offensive zone in this first period. He's got a goal to show for it.
By the way, 4 goals in 5 minutes and 4 seconds at one point here in the first period. Brought in by McTavish. Mason McTavish gets tied up along the boards. Bork plays it back to Steely. Steely, a wrist shot. That was blocked by Kulicek. Bumped that by Rabinets, and loose at center ice. Here is Power with it. He had a 3-second shift in the first period of his World Championship debut. He stepped on the ice and Canada took a penalty. In the third period of the gold medal game, he played 10.5 minutes. That was more than any skater on either team. Brought in now by Johnson. Kent Johnson tied up.
When we talked to Power, he just seemed really quietly confident. Really take what comes. And
Gooley slams down Konechny. Now Yvonne trying to take that free place for Kate Breton in the Quebec League. Braddock plays it back around to Konechny. Chips it high in the air. The puck bounces in front of the Czech bench. Here's Yvonne with it. And back down to the Canadian zone. Guess what his middle name is?
it is not Yvonne.
It is.
It cannot be.
I am told it is.
I think somebody's pulling your leg.
They insist that is the case.
The parents aren't very creative if it is. Or it's a really important name in their family.
I'm serious.
I'm still not buying it. I'm sorry.
Benaye trying to move that ahead. Zellweger back around for Sabrango. Zellweger up for Cooley, and Will Cooley fires that back down to the Czech zone. Stanislav Svozil, who has one of the Czech goals here, had 9 assists in his last 10 games before leaving for the Czech camp. And by the way, even though they're called Czechia, you can still say Czechs or Czech. It's going to take some time. That puck goes off Sabrango into the Canadian bench. Yvonne returned to Cape Breton. Played there 2 years ago, had 16 or 18 goals in 29 games this year, playing in the Cape. So the issue for the Czechs we've talked about in previous years is, what's the best development model? David Pasternak went to Sweden. Others have stayed home, like Tomas Hertl. But for the most part, the top Czechs play in North America. Now a chance for Bedard, and Connor Bedard lifted that wide. Knocked down by Seeley. Ishak to the line, but held by Bedard. Great play by Connor Bedard. He was poke checked by Jiricek. It bounces back down to Perfetti. Perfetti across to Power. Oh, and Power reaches in. Still on a backhand move in front. Malik down. He poke checked it off the stick of Power. Right. For Seeley to Bedard. Back to Perfetti. Cole Perfetti. Playing this year for Manitoba in the American League. Down to Shane Wright to Bedard. Bedard centers it. And that pass is broken up and moved out by Jiricek. He sends it down the ice. This will be an icing call against the Czechs.
'16-year-old Connor Bedard gave Canada no choice but to pick him on this team. He went to camp and he felt he really had to show something. We scored 2 goals in the first game against U Sports, and supremely talented young player who will be at the very top of the draft next year.
2023 draft.
Yes.
He's a 2005 born.
Well, I already consider it this year.
You're right.
For the Shane Wright draft, and those that will be at the top of this draft. There's for next year, 2023. 16 years old, Bedard. Last year jumped into the Western Hockey League as a 15-year-old. Was over a point a game. Now he's got 14 goals in 24 games as a 16-year-old.
Kent Johnson drops it back to Gooley. Gooley in, shoots, tipped in front by Bork, and a good stop there by Malik.
That's a good track by Malik as Canada spreads the Czech defense out as they move the puck side to side. And Guli's got his head up the whole way, and he finds a pass lane right through to Bork, and see Malak transfer his weight from right to left, track the puck, and make the save.
McTavish wins that face-off back, but it's scooped up quickly by Brabenetz. Cormier had to quickly retrieve that puck, knocks it back across to Guli. Trying to find Johnson. Now worked free by Kulik. Now Kulik plays for Rockford, Chicago's American League affiliate. He lost the handle. And away comes Johnson. Kent Johnson slides it back. The pass in behind Cormier. Now Johnson rings it back down to Bork. He's taken down. Knocked in by Michal Radek. Minute 15 to go here in the first period. Moravec with it. David Moravec settles things down for the Czechs, being watched there by Wright.
1 minute left in the first period.
Moravec to Malat. Sent back down to the Canadian zone. Sabrango back to pick it up. Donovan Sabrango leaves it there. The centering pass was picked off by Perfetti. He pokes it ahead to Bedard. Up into Zellweger. And that's lifted high off the glass by Malak, and a chance now for the Czechs. 2-on-1. That pass misfired from Malat, trying to find Konechny. Back comes Canada the other way. Bedard for Perfetti. Perfetti shovels it back across. Sabrango in scores. Donovan Sabrango ties it up with 29 seconds left in the first period.
Transition offense, perfectly played at both ends of the ice. And once the play is turned over at the offensive end, Sabrango starts to play to Connor Bedard. He's got a couple of 5-on-5 shifts here in the last 2 minutes. Perfetti, who is a passer, whose strength is his vision and IQ. This is a backhand feather on the dish to Sabrango, who starts the play and finishes it. And Canada with goals from defenseman Owen Power and Donovan Sabrango have come back from a 3-1 deficit and tied the game at 3.
That's Sabrango's first goal this season. He plays for Grand Rapids, Detroit's American League affiliate. He had 3 assists, no goals so far this year.
It's actually his first goal in 2 years. He didn't score last year either. Nice timing.
Now a chance to the side of the goal, poked right through the crease by Ridley Gregg. Gregg feeds it back to Guli. Final seconds of the opening period. A 6-goal first period. Centered by Sordet, and Power on it, one of the goal scorers in the first period. It was a high event. First 20 minutes of the tournament for Canada and the Czechs. 3-3 is the score through the opening 20 minutes. You're watching day 1 of the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship from Edmonton. Our first intermission with James Duthie, Bob McKenzie, and Jeff O'Neill is coming right up.
Once again this year at the World Juniors, our friends at Sport Logic are tracking the shots from the quality scoring area around the net. 4-3 the advantage for Canada, and those red dots symbolize where the goals came from. Our first period scoring summary is brought to you by Verbo, and there was a lot of hey baby and a lot of oh no baby in that first period for Team Canada. The last time Canada had 6 goals scored in one of its games was back in Malmo, Sweden in 2014 when they led Germany 4-2, won that game 7-2. But this game, TBA with 40 minutes to go. Gordon Miller and Ray Ferraro have your call.
That was a high event first period, and a lot of it was the Czechs stretching Canada out.
Well, as Canada pushed for offense, there was too much room between their forwards and their defense, and when there is that room, that allows the Czech Republic to just fly through the middle of the ice. There's nobody to stop their momentum. To the end of this, the Czechs had the puck in possession 49 seconds in the Canadian zone in the first period, but they scored 3 goals. One was quick off the power play, but the rest of it was this: quick pass through the middle, a turnover, a quick transition, and Canada's defense is back too far. The forwards are caught in between, and they took advantage of it to the tune of 3 goals. Now, to Canada's credit, they come back late in that first period. They get the goals from the defensemen Power and Sabrango and tie the game at 3.
So just 6 goals against in the entire tournament last year, 3 in the first period here tonight. Connor Bedard, by the way, played 2 minutes and 43 seconds in that first period,
but had back-to-back shifts at the end of the period. Wonder if he's starting to creep up the depth chart a little bit.
So here we go, 5-on-5 to start the second period. Still to come tonight in Red Deer, the United States, the defending gold medalists, will open defense of their championship against Slovakia. Sweden beat Russia earlier, and the Finns beat Germany. Now loose puck almost knocked down there by Gregg. Ridley Gregg of the Brandon Wheat Kings goes after it. Mishak chips it back to center ice, and Seeley ranges back for Canada. Leaves it there for Power. Up ahead for Bork. In with Neighbors and Gregg. Fresh legs on defense come on for Canada. Bork tries to work it down in the corner. That's picked off and slid ahead by Michal Guk, who has one of the Czech goals in the first period. Now smoothly ranging back is McTavish. Drops it back to Gulli. Up for McTavish. Got tied up there by Jiricek. And now Kulik sends it back down to the Canadian zone. Picked up again by Gulli. Johnson up ahead to Bork. Slides that gently down to the Czech zone. To Hacek. In a battle there that's won by Bork. Feeds it back to Gulli. Gulli down to Bork. Shields off the Czech defender. Radek. And now in the corner, Johnson goes after it. Ken Johnson works it loose. Canada again making changes on the fly. On comes Bedard. McTavish slides it across to Gulli. Throws that towards the goal. Just missed on the tip by Bedard. So a question was being asked of Dave Cameron, the Canadian coach, prior to the tournament. How much more would Bedard play? We're getting an answer here in the second period. He centers it, and Perfetti a chance. That was blocked.
So Bedard jumped in front of Bourgault on that line with Shane Wright and Cole Perfetti.
And now the Czechs ice the puck and won't be able to change.
Hey Canada, as you sit back and enjoy the game, remember, Bet99.net is the smartest way to play like a pro. Every game starts at Bet99.net.
Born July 17, 2005. He's the youngest player in the tournament. Cole Perfetti, born January 1st, 2002, is the oldest.
Funny, you know, Dave Cameron says he wants him to be a little stronger off the puck, and there's lots of things you can want. You have to remember, Bedard's 16 years old. He's going to be. You want him to be stronger in a lot of different places, but what he has is an ability to create. Creates with his shot, creates with his passing. It didn't take him long to get into the mix here.
Wright throws that rink wide. That pass was picked off by Sebastian Malat. Malat out to center ice. In comes Malat. You watch there by Zellweger. Now Bedard pokes that to the line, but not out. Along wrist shot, poke wide. Konechny loves that down. Here's Zellweger with it. Banks it off the glass and back down the ice. Icing waved off as Moravec goes back for it, and Canada changes. Konechny. Couldn't clear it by Power. Now Bourgault with a chance. And the save is made by Malek.
So Bourgault drops into a different spot here as he gets a shift just after where we'd normally had seen him. Bourgault he could score. I mean, the kid's had a tremendous start to the year, 22 goals in 24 games. in Shawinigan, and the Oilers' first-round pick is out with Desnoyers now and Cooley.
Seeley throws that towards the goal.
So if you look at the...
Borgo flies it back across. Will Cooley with a chance. That backhand shot turned away by Malik.
Look at the way the lines are. It's Gunther that's the forward that's dropped off the top 12.
Now brought out by Rishavi. Martin Rishavi, who plays in Moose Jaw in the Western League. Threw that in deep, and now it's picked up by Power. Power, in his second year at the University of Michigan. Out for Desnoyers, and Cooley drops it back to Seeley. Shots are just 12-7.
The save percentages are taking a beating here early in this game.
Well, in the Russia-Sweden game, Yaroslav Askarov was pulled in his first game of the tournament, his third World Junior Championship. There's Novak on it. Plays it back around, jumping up is Tehacek. Tehacek shoots from a sharp angle. That's deflected wide. Back at the point, kept alive by Jiricek. He shoots, and Garand kicks that away. Neighbors knocks it down for Canada. Slides that back. Gooley steps up. Borgo goes off the ice. Now Neighbors trying to hunt the puck down and skipped away from Malik. And loose in the corner, sort of. Back for Cormier. Cormier shoots. That was tipped wide by Neighbors. Tehacek moves that in, and Cormier was careful not to take an interference penalty there on Kulik. Sort of. Lost the handle, now plays it back down to the Czech zone. Jiricek back for it. Jiricek plays a lot for a draft-eligible player. He's a late birthday in 2003, so he has to wait a year to get drafted. Now the puck stolen by Johnson. For Sorda to McTavish with a shot, and Malik makes the save.
McTavish had the first goal of the game. It seems like a long time ago, that beauty in the first period. And when they were in camp prior to the tournament, they were doing extra shooting on the goaltenders before practice, and they said maybe they should get McTavish away from the early shooting. The goalies were saying he's not doing much for our confidence. He can really shoot the puck. He got a good one away there that Malek was able to swallow up.
Czechs ice it yet again. McTavish was the third overall pick rather in the 2021 draft by Anaheim. His dad, Dale, we mentioned, played in Switzerland, played in the Spengler Cup a few years ago. And Mason was there as a youngster with his dad. Got to see Team Canada play for the first time. Moved back from Switzerland at the age of 8.
And the players in that draft last year are all in this tournament. The first pick was Owen Power. The second pick was Matty Beniers. And McTavish was the third.
McTavish was the captain of the Canadian under-18 team that won gold in Texas in the spring. Sabrango slides it back across to Johnson. Johnson works in on Konechny. Still on it, Kent Johnson. Crisscrossing there with Bork. Maverick Bork banks it back to Lambos. Carson Lambos moves the puck ahead. Now the wall sealed by Johnson, poked that free. Moravec has it back. Sabrango steps back up and knocks it down for Bork. McTavish trying to work it free. And the puck bounces into the Canadian bench with 5:50 gone here in the second period.
A lot of the script for Canada is going to be their strength and their ability to get in on the forecheck, as you see McTavish just tossing around Malat. Now they've got to get the puck off the wall as Bork has done the work to hold the puck. McTavish keeps the play alive, and they end up with an offensive zone faceoff.
Bedard back out there with Wright and Perfetti. Draw one back to Perfetti with a shot, and Malik makes the save. Now Power a chance, it goes over the glass, up and out of play. You and I had a chance to talk with Connor McDavid here in Edmonton last week about being a 16-year-old in the tournament. He was in 2014. There were some struggles for him, for McDavid. He was benched in a game. It was against the Czechs, actually. He talked about, we asked him, what would be your advice to a 16-year-old player? He right away, without hesitation, said, turn off social media.
That's probably good advice for a lot of players. It's just like, why would the outside noise matter? But it does. It starts to dig at you. And
Now a lead pass to Mishak moving in. Jan Mishak spins back on Seeley. Mishak shoots from a sharp angle. Garand makes the stop.
That's a pretty slick move from Mishak.
The next year, the Canadian players as a group elected to turn off social media during the tournament. McDavid felt that was a key factor in their gold medal win. Right with a shot. And the save made by Malik. That's a point. Julie slides it down to Bedard. A centering pass. That's tipped wide by Wright. Gouli sends that wide. It would seem that young Mr. Bedard is becoming a fixture here in the top six.
He just has the puck all the time. It's like it's really remarkable is, you know, you're watching him for the first time at this level, but his smarts to get into position to receive the puck. Once he gets it, he is dangerous, but you got to get it first, and he seems to be able to put himself in a good spot to be the outlet.
Power lead pass for Cooley. He's taken down.
I think there's an injury here. The Czech player that stepped up on Will Cooley. Oh, that's Jiricek.
Jiricek, who's a top prospect for the upcoming draft, is down after this collision with Will Cooley. Back here in Edmonton, Canada back in action on Tuesday against Austria. Coverage starts at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. There'll be no relegation again this year. The IHF announcing that earlier today, given the circumstances under which the tournament's being played.
Here's this last play as David Jiricek steps up on Will Cooley. His left leg is going to make contact here. Oh, God, I hate that. Just even to see it as Jiricek goes down. Pretty clearly it's his left leg. And he'll be evaluated.
Player we were excited to see play in the tournament.
There's not much room or margin for error on a miss of a hit like that. Either the hitter or the guy getting hit. They collide together. They're both going in opposite directions. Their shoulders are squared up. If you miss the initial hit, the only thing that can hit is your knees. Hopefully Jiricek is okay.
Here's McTavish off the face-off. He's taken down by Shedevy. A penalty coming to the Czechs. 12:48 to go here in the second period, and Canada is going on the power play.
Yeah, the first time in the game that the Czechs will be shorthanded. The Canadian power play will get their initial crack at it here in the tournament, and it's McTavish, who's been everywhere tonight, who draws the penalty, drives outside on Shedevy, and he takes the holding penalty.
Jakub Shedevy plays for Liberec in the Czech Extra League. Played in 3 leagues this year, which is common for a lot of players in Europe. Off the face-off, Johnson trying to poke at it. Perfetti plays it back, and Canada trying to get set up here. Power is the D-man on this Canadian power play. And Power drops it off to McTavish. And in comes McTavish. Steaming in, McTavish rolls that towards the goal. The net comes off. The face-off will come outside. They'll say McTavish is the man who knocked it off.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by SodaStream. With new Pepsi and 7-Up drink mixes for SodaStream. Now you can stream your favorites on demand.
Every time McTavish has the puck, he's on a beeline to the net. He draws the pen.
Off the draw, the Czechs control it. And Michal Ladek sends it down. Power. Up ahead for Bork to McTavish. To Perfetti. Cole Perfetti flips that in behind the Czech goal. Bouncing puck. McTavish goes after it. Bork plays it around to Johnson. Kent Johnson. Down to Bork. Gets the return pass. Johnson drops it back. Perfetti holds in. Shoots. Lifted that high and wide. Johnson right on the line. Keeps it alive. He's taken down. Another penalty coming to the Czechs. Going to be a 5-on-3 here. McTavish. Back to Power. Works his way in. The extra skater comes on. It's right. McTavish looks back in front for Perfetti. That misfired. 6-on-4 now for Canada. Perfetti drops it back. Power is shot. Malik the save, but Canada's about to get a 5-on-3 and maybe more here.
Gonna be more here.
For 52 seconds. Radek knocked down McTavish. They might take them both here. I believe they are going to take 2 Czechs.
Well, they should. I mean, the second penalty, erratic, is a cross-check to the head. I mean, the ref's standing a foot away from him.
22 minor penalty for cross-checking, and
the first one's a trip. We saw the first glimpse of Kent Johnson's skill as he makes this initial slick pass to Perfetti, misses the net. Johnson's going to end up with the puck again, and as he re-attacks, there's the trip on Mishak. So now it's going to be a 5-on-3. Canada controls the puck, and there's the cross-checking undisciplined penalty.
So this is going to be extended power play time as 2 checks go off. So you still got 52 seconds to go in the Shedevy penalty. Then you've got Mishak going off for 2. And Radek will then start serving his penalty in 52 seconds.
Well, most certainly David Jiricek would be on the ice, and so the Czechs are short 2 players. Their best defenseman is in the locker room. Canada has an amazing opportunity here to take control of this game. They will have a 5-on-3 for the next couple of minutes.
McTavish, Bork, Johnson, and Perfetti are the forwards. Power, the defenseman. Perfetti to Power. Owen Power back to Cole Perfetti. In for Bork. To Johnson, back to Bork. Has a look, centers it. McTavish misfired on that one. Perfetti back with it. Back to Power. Power to Perfetti. Johnson. Perfetti. Power. Bork. Back for Perfetti. Across the Power. Hard shot, scores! Owen Power. Power play goal, and Canada is back on top.
Owen Power's got a couple. Cole Perfetti's got a couple assists. This 5-on-3 will be extended. Watch Perfetti on the top. This puck is going to go to him and then to Johnson. But when Perfetti gets it back, he's going to come over the top. He tells, right here, he tells Power to move. He wants Power over on the one-timer. Perfetti moves Power into the spot, puts it on the tee, and Power pounds it by the goaltender. And Canada's power play is on the board. It's a 4-3 lead, and still 90 seconds of 5-on-3 left.
So now the Radek penalty starts as the Mishak penalty continues. And as you say, the 5-on-3 rolls on. So Canada back in the lead on the goal by Owen Power, who didn't play in last year's tournament, was not released by the University of Michigan over concerns about border issues.
What a great play by Perfetti here. Talking, you know, it's one of Cole Perfetti's positives when people talk about him is his IQ for the game. He recognizes he's not the one-time shooter. He wants Power to one-time it. So when he comes back over the top, right here, he tells Power to move. Get over there. And he lays it on the tee for him, and it's a perfect shot. And Canada's on the board.
And Power pointed at him right away after the goal was scored. Here they come again with a 2-man advantage. Owen Power winds in. Perfetti sets up, but here's Perfetti with it to Power. Back down to Bork. Bork across to Johnson. Back to Power, has a look. Feeds it back across to Bork. Now Bork snaps that pass across to Power. Crisscrossing with Perfetti again. Bork, Power. Has a look, centers it, and McTavish just missed on the tip. And the Czechs hack it down the ice. As Tihacek got there, quickly ahead Garand to Bork with Perfetti. Bork, Perfetti in, rolls off his stick, rebound. Bork takes a slap at it, and that's knocked away by Malik. Here's Kent Johnson. In across the top, Johnson slides it back to Perfetti. Perfetti shoots, that's blocked by Svozil. 30 seconds to go in the next Czech penalty. Power. Back across to Johnson. Johnson swings it back across to Power. Power holds it down to Perfetti, and Perfetti able to keep it alive for Power. Back across to Bork. Bork swings it back in front. Here's Johnson holding it now. Back down to Perfetti. 10 seconds to go on the Czech first penalty. Perfetti shoots. Bouncing puck in front. McTavish backs it back and they score. Power again. And that's still a 5-on-3, so Canada's going to stay on the power play.
Well, how's your first game in the World Junior Tournament going, Owen Power? Buffalo Sabres fans, what are you thinking? Here's Owen Power. He's got 3 goals here, a couple on the power play. He's going to wander down by the goal line, and when this puck bounces around, he's standing at the goal line on the left post. This puck bounces around off the McTavish miss. Thank you, says Owen Power. He's got 3, Canada 5-3 lead. And critical in the power play sense, there was still 5 seconds left in that penalty. So now they've got 35 seconds left of 5-on-4 play.
And we've got some hats on the ice here for Owen Power's hat trick. And Canada has retaken the lead and a 2-goal advantage after falling behind 3-1 in the first period. 8 goals scored so far. We are just past the halfway point of the second period. And Canada will be on the power play for 35 more seconds.
Canada's skill on display. Perfetti was able to keep that puck alive after he bobbled it. Slick passing. And then it comes down to a blue-collar rebound, and Power puts it in the net.
And Bedard out there now on the Canadian power play, who began this game as Canada's 13th forward. And over the years, there have been so many guys who have worked their way up. Ryan Smith back in '95, Corey Perry in 2005, Joe Thornton back in '97 began the tournament as the 13th forward.
I mean, this took 1 period, and Bedard's up into the mix here. But this second power play unit had to wait their turn as the first group was ripping up that 5-on-3.
Got by Bedard, picked up by Malak. And here is Bedard winding in, trying to poke that ahead, taken off his stick by Tahacek. Tahacek 2-on-1 short-handed, fired. He ripped that wide. And the teams are back to 5-on-5, but damage done. Canada's grabbed a 5-3 lead. And now fed down to the Canadian zone. Garand out to play it as icing was waved off. Here's Cormier with it. Lucas Cormier up for Jake Neighbors. And a lot of guys have been sitting on the Canadian bench for a while for all that power play time. Spacek back across to Shedevy. Plays it out of the Canadian zone as Gouli goes back and Pishak steps into him. Picked out by Seeley. That was knocked down by Kolacek. Denoyer up for Bourgault. Xavier Bourgault to Gouli. Swings that back in deep. Gouli trying to dig that free. Pass knocked down. Bourgault back with it. Xavier Bourgault plays it back in the corner. Now Denoyer sends it for Cooley. Back at the point he goes to Gouli. To Seeley. And that shot missed the stick. Bourgault. Back down to Denoyer. He's tied up there by Moravets. And the puck finally flipped out and down the ice by Kolacek. And back to pick it up is Ronan Seeley. The captain in Everett. Back across to Gouli. The puck bouncing at center ice, picked up by Sordoff. And Gouli goes back to Seeley. Chipped in now. And a shift for Dylan Gunther, who has not had many here in the second period.
I believe that's his first of the period.
Kulik got to drop that back. Brebenatz was poke checked there by Lambo, so we've got an injured player. It's Gunther for Canada behind the play, limping back to the Canadian bench. His blade came off his skate, apparently. In comes Kent Johnson now. Hold, trying to center it. Svozil stayed with him. Lambo's back with it. His pass goes off a skate.
Yeah, it is his blade. He's sitting at the bench, and that's good news.
Centering pass by Gut missed. The Czechs are making a late change. Now Sordoff works in with Gregg. Ridley Gregg works in. Hooks that back in front. Here's Kent Johnson, a backhand shot. And the puck loose now behind the goal. Johnson going to swing that back to Sabrango. And Sabrango holds the line, flips that back in the corner. 6.5 to go here in the second period. Scooped up by McTavish. Top line comes back out for Canada. McTavish in the corner to Power. Power drops it back. Shedevy tied up along the boards. Power has it squeezed by him by Kulik. Zellweger up to McTavish, kicks that back down to the check zone, but the pass misfired, icing called against the Canadians.
Well, there's Dylan Gunther's skate blade. Just think you get your first shift of the period and your blade falls off your skate. He's got to get it tacked back on. Arizona's first rounder this past year. Gunther's got 16 goals his last 25 games, including 8 in his last 10 before they reported to training camp.
He was drafted with a pick that Arizona got in the Oliver Ekman-Larsson trade with Vancouver. Power slides that back to Gooley. Up ahead to Bedard. As he comes across the line, the play is called offside. 5:52 to go here. It's been a display of raw power. Owen Power's got 3, and Canada's got a 5-3 lead here in the second period. .552 to go here in the second period, day 1 of the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship here in Edmonton. Next year, we'll be in Siberia for the 2023 World Junior Hockey Championship. Omsk and Novosibirsk. Following year in Gothenburg in Sweden. And back in Canada. All things being equal, Jakob Kos had his clearing attempt knocked down by Perfetti. Perfetti back to Cormier. Cross he goes to Goulet. Now Shane Wright plays it back to Goulet. Perfetti gathers up the loose puck. Here's Perfetti back with it. Winding across the top. Perfetti has a look. Drops it back to Cormier. Back for Goulet. Shoots, and Perfetti got a stick on that, but the puck goes up and out of play.
Skill and vision. Tipped one up over the net.
Czechs have just 2 shots here in the second period. For a goal. Back for Zellweger. By the way, that first period marked the first time in tournament history that the Czechs have ever scored 3 goals in a period against Canada. Spot check. Finds Kolachek. That's picked off by Bargot. Taken back though by Kolachek. Joseph Kolachek shoots, kicked up by Garand, who has not been tested much here in the period. Now Desnoyers drops it off to Cooley. That's knocked down by the Czech captain. Mishak for Novak, but the play is offside at the Canadian line. 4:32 to go in the second period. Time now for the sweet play of the game, brought to you by NyQuil Honey.
Won't get many goals much better than this on an individual basis. Mason McTavish circles the zone, protects the puck, finds a point to attack, puts it between Novak's stick and skates, and then zips it into the top corner for a 1-0 Canada lead.
This has been a remarkable game so far in the tournament opener, and Owen Power has made history as the first defenseman in Canada's history of the World Junior Championship to record a hat trick in a game. I don't know if you know this, Ray, if you study much, but there's been some really good defensemen play for Canada in this tournament.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've seen that. Still got time.
Yeah. Well, the Canadian record for goals in the game is 4, shared by a ton of players. Here's Gregg. That's deflected wide, and Power's right back in deep on it. He got spun around. Power back on it. Pokes it down to Neighbors. Jake Neighbors leaves it back in the corner. Tangles there with Shedevy. Here's Neighbors back on it. Back for Gregg. And Ridley Gregg drops it off to Seeley. Seeley a long shot. The save made by Malik. Loose puck at the side of the goal. Seeley gets a shot away. Another chance. Neighbors poking out of a wild scramble rather in the Czech crease. And Jakub Malik keeps it out.
That scramble happens when Malik misplays a long wrister from Seeley. Burps that rebound about 7 or 8 feet out in front of the blue paint, and then it's chaos. There's the rebound. Now the Czechs are trying to clear it away, and actually Gut slides it back to Malik to cover up. But all kinds of traffic and mess around the front of the net. Neighbors in the middle of it, where the St. Louis Blues found him a lot this year. The Blues really liked him in his 9-game trial. Actually thought about keeping him a little longer. Probably in the best place, coming back to junior to get a little more ice time and play more regularly. So he comes back to Edmonton. He's got 18 points in 10 games.
Scored his first NHL goal against the LA Kings. That clearing attempt went off the glass, up and out. Just to finish the thought on Owen Power, the 5 Canadians who have scored 4 goals in the game of the World Junior: Mario Lemieux, Simon Gagne, Brayden Schenn, Taylor Radish, Maxime Comtois. He's got 3 in 2 periods.
With each one that goes in, the Buffalo Sabres get a little more excited. I found it interesting talking to him about how he said, of course, people talk to him about Victor Hedman as someone he should watch, mainly because of the size. But he spent a lot of time on video watching Adam Fox from the Rangers and Roman Josi from the Predators. I found that pretty interesting, and today we've seen a little glimpse of him down around the front of the net.
Now Caden Gooley tried to work that to the side of the goal. It's knocked down and moved ahead quickly by Moravets. Ivan works in. Ivan with a shot. He put that wide. Konechny on it. But squeezed off the puck by McTavish. Cormier's got it back. And here is Gooley. 2:45 to go in the second period. Canada trailed by 2, now leads by 2. Canada back in action against Germany on Tuesday. Czechs will play the Germans tomorrow. Bedard is careful not to get a hooking penalty there. Rishavi. And now Bedard with it. Spins away from Urbad.
A little bit of poise right there.
Zellweger gains the line and moves in. Looks across to Perfetti. And the bouncing puck is knocked out by Rishavi. Right to Perfetti. Sabrango up for Cole. Perfetti with Bedard. Perfetti slides it back across, goes off a skate. Now Wright knocks it back to Sabrango. Donovan Sabrango works it back in, trying to find Bedard. And here's Bedard with it. Rolling puck. Takes a hard bump in the corner from Spacek. And now lifted out by Kos. Shane Wright to the Czech line. Here's Spacek with it. He got thumped there by Will Cooley. And Sabrango picks his way out slowly. Scored a key goal for Canada in the first period. Now to Hatchek. Plays it back around. Scooped up by the Hatchek. Of course, the Czechs know David Jiricek, who was injured earlier.
That's a devastating injury for the Czechs.
Borogo moves in. He got poke check. And it's knocked out by Pavel Novak. Power across to Gooley. Final minute now, the second period. Malik back to play it. And here is Power. Up ahead to Neighbors. Jake Neighbors works it and shoots. Lifted that high. Gooley pokes at it. Pass at center ice is knocked down by Sorda. Justin Sorda in for Gregg. Centers it. And Malik made the save on the tip there by Sorda. Brought back by Kolacek. Kolacek swings that rink wide and skipped off the stick of Mishak. And gathers it up and throws it wide. Power back with it. Final seconds of the second period. Neighbors on it now. Jake Neighbors will shovel that down. Malik gloves it down. And Canada will go to the dressing room with a 5-3 lead after 2 periods of play. Owen Power, the first Canadian defenseman to have a hat trick of the World Junior. It has been quite a start here on day 1 of the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship. Our second intermission with James Duthie, Bob McKenzie, Jeff O'Neill is coming in.
5-3 Canada leads as we look at our Canadian Tire second period scoring summary. And basically the second period was 2 things: the power play and powers play. Owen with 2 more, 3 total. Canada out shooting Czechia 25-9. They lead by 2. To guide you through the third period, Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro.
Thank you, James. We've mentioned that Owen Power and Cole Perfetti have a chance to join Patrice Bergeron as players who have won the World Championship before the World Junior. And Cole Perfetti's been very slick in this game.
He really has. I think for the first time we've seen Perfetti play to the level that we expect of him. He's long been talked about as an elite distributor, great vision. He's on display in the first period. Look at the pass to Donovan Sobrango that ties the game up at 3. In the second period on the power play, we see a little of his IQ. Move over there, big boy. I'll find you for the one-timer. And Owen Power's on the board on the 5-on-3. But it doesn't stop there. He loses the puck. Now he's going to go between his own feet to keep this puck alive. What skill and poise. And after this play, Power ends up dunking it in the net for his 3rd of the game. But it's not just there. Look at him weave and dangle with the puck. Heads up the whole time. But he doesn't stay at the outside. This is what I like best about this play. Instead of just making it and staying and watching, Perfetti gets to the front of the net, tips it up over the net and into the netting. Now Power's got the 3 goals. Perfetti's got a couple assists. I think he's been excellent. Those 2 returnee players, well, Power's not, I guess returnees from the World Championship, have been outstanding tonight.
By the way, the single tournament record for goals for Canada, the single tournament record is 4.
For a defenseman.
Yeah.
So he's got, you're saying he's got a leg up on the competition
his
here.
chances. He's the first defenseman to score a hat trick in a game for Canada, the World Junior Championship. And now Canada opens his 3rd period up by 2 in what has been a topsy-turvy game. Let's think back to the first period. An early Canadian lead erased by the Czechs, who scored 3 straight. Canada came back to tie it up and then grab the lead in the 3rd period. We have not seen the return of David Jiricek, so we'll wait to hear after the game about his status.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, Gord, what an enormous loss for the Czechs, who have felt pretty good about this team, but without David Jiricek on the back end, it's just not the same group. It would be a very challenging chore for the Czechs without him.
Now off the face-off, that shot by Kolacek was blocked, and Canada breaks out 3-on-2, sort of, along with Gregg and Neighbors. That pass broken up by Svozil. It was one of the Czech goals, and Mishak is back for it. Czechs have not won a medal in the last 16 tournaments of the World Junior. Their last medal of bronze in 2005 in Grand Forks. Now a loose puck and a quick shot taken there by Kolacek, and that is stopped by Dylan Garand. So these are the Canadians who have scored 4 times in a World Junior game for Canada, 5 forwards. Maxime Comtois, the most recent, against Denmark back in the 2018 tournament. First overall pick in last year's NHL draft. Not since Eric Johnson in 2006 as the first overall pick not played in the NHL the following year. Gouli snaps that ahead to McTavish. He finds Bork. In comes Maverick Bork, shoots, and Malik kicks that away. Now back at the point. Gouli has shot that deflected, and Malik didn't see it. McTavish winds back in. Mason McTavish. Pumped in the corner by Kulik. They're still tangled up as Gouli picks up the puck and shoots. He fired that wide. Mihal Gouli. He saw that hit coming from Gouli, and Gouli slammed him down. Gouli slow to get to his feet. Now brought back, and that Shot ripped wide by Kulik. Again shoots and again fires it wide. Shane Wright taps that back for Gooley. And here's Lucas Cormier spinning back. Plays for Charlottetown in the Quebec Major Junior League. 36 points in 26 games this year. #1 in points by defenseman in the Quebec League when he left for the Canadian camp. Now a steal by Wright. Shane Wright throws it back in front. That hit a skate. And Malat has it back now for the Czechs. Rink wide he goes. That's chipped in by Konechny. Moravets plays it back for Ivan, who shoots that wide, and we are told by his billet family that his middle name is not Ivan. It is just Ivan.
That was enough.
Away comes Perfetti, along with Bedard. Perfetti has a look, and that pass goes off the skate of David Spacek. By the way, Bedard played over 5 minutes in the second period, so he doubled his ice time from the first. As Spacek feeds it across, and that shot taken there by Malat was blocked by Sabrango. Svozil with it. Stanislav Svozil spins along the boards. Svozil works on Perfetti. Svozil, little backhand shot, lifted that wide. And now Bedard racing to it. And Bedard pulled that free from Svozil, his Regina Pats teammate. Tahacek works in and shoots, and it was off the mask of Garand, up and out of play.
Team Canada said it wasn't much of a choice to name Kaiden Guhle their captain. With such a presence, he's been a leader in this age group for this Canadian group the entire way. His physical game is at the forefront of what he is about. The last one on Goot, he stood up in the offensive zone to level the hit. Canada's had much better support for their defensemen, so Guhle feels a little more confident jumping up to make that hit, but he's made his presence known and will throughout this tournament.
Tahacek looks down to Mishak. Jan Mishak, the captain of the Czech team for the second straight year. And Kolacek try to shoot that back in, knocked down by Seeley for power. Dean center ice and lifts that gently down to the Czech zone. Malik out to play it. Leaves it there for Tahacek. Now that's stolen away. And brought back by Bourgault. Xavier Bourgault. Back at the point, here's Power again. Owen Power walks across the top, drops it back to Seeley. That pass just fired. Bourgault goes back after it. Power trying to dig it free. Chedevy steps into him. 4 Czechs against Power, and the puck finally went free. And the Czechs gathered up to Tahacek with it. Tomorrow here, Austria. Then Germany takes on the Czechs. In Red Deer, Russia plays Switzerland. Sweden plays Slovakia. A steal now by Sorda. Odd man rush for Canada. Greg works in, back for Sorda with a chance. Kicked away by Malik. Worked free again by Justin Sorda. At the point to Cormier, back to Sorda. Drops it off to Guhle. Guhle along wrist shot, that's tipped wide by Greg. And Goot gets slammed again. This time, Sorda ran over him. The puck centered, and Sorda couldn't reach it. 3-on-2 now for the Czechs. In comes Goot with it. Goot, centering pass, and Kulik put that wide.
That's great work by Justin Sorda. He came all the way back to foil that cross-crease pass.
Now Ridley Gregg falls, might have tangled there with the linesman. Neighbors drops that off. Now Zellweger with a chance. Olin Zellweger turned away in tight by Malik. Glove down at center ice by Neighbors. And in comes Jake Neighbors. Throws it back in front. That pass just missed for Sabrango to Neighbors. Back at the point, long shot by Sabrango. Dribbles down in front, Borg reaching for it. And the puck rolls just wide. Rabinets back up to center, and Kent Johnson has it back. Zellweger. Woo! Slides that back down to the Czech zone. Malat. Lost the puck to Johnson for a moment. Now Zellweger keeps it alive. McTavish off stride, holds it, slides it back across. Oh, what a stop by Malik. Rebound, and McTavish McTavish turned away, and McTavish's stick was sawed in half. He thought there should have been a penalty. Couple of close calls there for Canada. Konechny now moves it back down to the Canadian zone. Zellweger goes back as Malat steps into him. Ivan trying to work it free. And Sabrango takes that away, picked up by Zellweger. Up to Bork. Shane Wright chips that down. Hits the discarded stick. And Ivan has it back. He lost the puck to Bedard. In comes Connor Bedard. Hooks it back in front, and Wright couldn't quite reach it. Now Shane Wright centers it. And that's knocked away. Malik out to center ice, and Owen Power knocks that to Perfetti. In comes Power, drops it off to Bedard. Bedard for Power working in, goes between the legs and shoots, and the save is made by Malik. Owen Power putting on a show. Meantime, Mason McTavish, a great chance, but gets hacked in the act. Cheer for good. The more you cheer, tell us we'll donate to good causes with the hashtag cheer for good and donate and support rather grassroots hockey. Shane Wright steps in for the face-off with Connor Bedard and Cole Perfetti. So you've got Owen Power, who was the first overall pick last year, with Wright at center, who will be likely the first overall pick in 2022, and Bedard on the wing, who's probably going to be the first overall pick in 2023. Very rare you'd see that in a tournament. You got to go back probably to 2004 in Helsinki when you had Marc-Andre Fleury, who was first overall in 03, Ovechkin, and now a great chance here for the Czechs that slid through the crease by Urban. But you had Ovechkin, the 04 first overall, and then Crosby, the 05 first overall. These are all on one team. That pass for Bedard, intercepted by Moravets, and Power back for it. Matvei Michkov from Russia will give Bedard a run for his money for first overall, but he's under contract to SKA St. Petersburg until 2026. So if you take him,
yeah, if you think he's the right guy, you wait 3 years, and then you basically dance around the contract. I mean, you can't get out of it, but like Minnesota did when they got Kirill Kaprizov, they got a star the minute he was there. They didn't have to wait for any development.
Now Bourgault loose in the corner with it. Xavier Bourgault throws it back in front, bouncing, but Cooley trying to reach it. Benaye had it knocked away by Novak. Pavel Novak scored a power play goal for the Czechs in the first period. And as Bourgault goes after it. Leaves it there for Cooley. They kick at it. Will Cooley trying to work it free. Now Kolacek. Knocked off the puck by Cormier, and Cooley goes back. Icing called against Czechia. And we mentioned it's called Czechia now, even though a lot of their gear is still branded Czech Republic. Even their uniforms today say Czech Republic on it, but they sent a letter to the IHF and to broadcasters prior to the tournament asking to be called Czechia.
Two really good games here on day one. Plus, of course, from the other group, the Swedes and the Russians played a highly entertaining game, but Germany hung in there against the Finns 3-1. It was a really good game. And this, of course, has been very entertaining, in particular the first period with the 6 goals.
And in about 20 minutes, the United States opens defense of its title against Slovakia. And the Slovaks think they've got a pretty good team here as well. Neighbors plays it back across to Zellweger. Olin Zellweger jumps it across the line and flips that down to the Czech zone. He gets his own shoot in, leaves it there for Sorda. Justin Sorda back at the point. Sabrango with a shot, goes off a skate. And Malik reaches out and pounces on that loose puck. Czechs have 10 drafted players in their lineup and 11 players who can come back next year. So the Czechs had 3 goals in the first period. They have 4 shots since the end of the first period.
That is
is two tales in one story here. Man, they had the 3-1 lead. It just seems like forever ago.
Here's Bork with a long shot. That's gloved by Malik. He'll hang on.
Canada got the 2 goals in the latter part of the first period from Owen Power and Donovan Sobrango. The blue liners come through, and at 3-3, Canada scores the 2 and takes over in the second period. The power play really comes up big. Two power play markers for Owen Power.
Off the draw, McTavish had that knocked away. Malat plays it back out for the Czechs. Back goes Bork, being trailed there by Konechny. Somewhere along the line, the Travis Konechny family changed the pronunciation in North America. Knocked down by Johnson to Hatchek. Plays it back down to the Canadians on a race for it. Konechny gets there. In behind Power. Now scooped up by McTavish. He muscled Konechny off the puck. Still loose along the boards. Picked up by McTavish. Up ahead for goes off his shin pad at the end of his shift and back down the ice. 32-11 now the shots on goal in favor of Canada. Malak in across the line for the Czechs. That shot goes off the foot of Cormier and picked up by Ivan. Race for it now. Shane Wright gets down there and negates the icing. He gets squeezed off the puck by Moravets. Bedard back out there. Cormier swats that free to right. And now Bedard has it back. Connor Bedard throws that towards the goal. Just missed Perfetti. Goulet back into Bedard. He collides down low with Moravets. And now Cormier plays it back in. Canada tags back up to get onside. Past the midway point of the third period. Urbad works it across the line. Finds Kos in, shoots. Guerin makes the stop, juggles the rebound, but is able to hang on. 5-3 Canada leads here in the third period of day 1 of the 2022 World Junior. Time now for your shift of the game, fueled by Gatorade.
The second period, Canada gets onto the 5-on-3, and it's Owen Power who strikes twice. First from Cole Perfetti, and then on a rebound on a Mason McTavish chance, Power puts that away. 2 power play goals turns 3-3 into 5-3.
9:29 to go here in the third period. Canada has Germany on Tuesday, Austria on Wednesday. And if you missed it earlier, the IHF announcing there'll be no relegation this year's tournament. After reviewing the situation, if a team can't play a game because of a COVID outbreak, they forfeit. And the IHF determined that having a team relegated as a result of forfeits would not be fair to anyone involved. Imagine if one of the big teams had a COVID outbreak and couldn't complete the tournament and got relegated.
I mean, I'm sure everybody's got an opinion on the right or the wrong thing, but everyone's just trying to make the best out of it. I mean, like, there's just no real correct way to get it done.
Right. So they've announced it's going to be, for now, an 11-team tournament next year in Novosibirsk. Not sure how that will work. Belarus has earned promotion from the Division I tournament in December. Latvia finished second in that tournament. One option would be to promote 2 teams, have a 12-team tournament next year, 2 pools of 6. But sharper minds than ours are at work on that. Here's Sobrango. Now to center ice. Goot knocks it down. Played back across. Picked off by Bourgault. Xavier Bourgault. Desnoyers. Desnoyers back around for Bourgault. That pass was knocked away from him. Bourgault's got it back, though. Pokes it down to Desnoyers. Centering pass for Cooley, and that's rolled down and gloved by Malik.
Help us make the game we love more inclusive. Submit your game-changing good deeds today at ChevroletGoodDeedsCup.ca.
Well, a 3-1 lead for Jakub Malek disappeared in large part to Owen Power. Czechs a 3-1 lead, surprising Canada with a couple of quick ones in the first period, and
And we mentioned, you talked about the fact in the first period that in last year's tournament, Canada never trailed until the gold medal game.
Right, and then they end up with a spot where they're down 1-0 and they just couldn't find the next gear to catch the United States. Now they put a little run together. I also think they certainly settled down. They were running all over the place in the first period. In particular, their defense gave up a bunch of man advantage breaks, and there's been none of that since the end of the first.
Sealy across to Power. Bobble the puck for a moment. Kulik tries to take it away from him and knocked him down. And as he does, a penalty will be called against the Czechs, as Jiri Kulik will go off for tripping Owen Power.
Well, that hasn't been good news for Czechia in this game, as we talked a number of times about the two Canadian power play goals.
27, 2 minutes minor for hooking.
Power kind of fumbles the puck, and the hooking call is made there.
So Power back on the power play for Canada, and a chance to join a pretty elite group of 4 goal scorers in the game.
Go back to that #1 group here that had all the success in that middle period.
Long 5-on-3 for the Canadians. It's a key part of this game as Johnson knocks it down. Kent Johnson drops that back. The pass is picked off by Urban, and Tomas Urban sends it down.
Team champion penalty to number 27, Jiri Kulik. 2 minutes for
Power drops it off to McTavish. Mason McTavish moves it back across to Bork. To Hacek. Feeds out ahead, and Power ranges back. That's poked away from him by Yvonne, and Durand out to play it. Back up the ice for Johnson. And Yvonne sends it back down to the Canadian zone as Kent Johnson spins back. Yvonne steals it back with Mishak. Yvonne shoots. Garand knocks that away. And Owen Power back with it. Ranges through center ice. Drops it back to Bork. Maverick Bork, nifty move at the line. Works his way in. Shoots. Whistle that wide. Here's Perfetti on it. Cole Perfetti back to Power. Owen Power for Johnson. Back to Power. For Perfetti. Back to Power. Owen Power shoots. That's ticked wide by McTavish. Mihal Gutz. Krashedovi banks it by Perfetti and back down the ice. 7 to go here in the third period. Canada with a 5-3 lead. Olin Zellweger moves it in. 25 seconds to go in this Canadian power play. Neighbors trying to dig it free. Back at the point is Cormier. And now Zellweger shot scores! Olin Zellweger power play goal. 6-3 Canada.
Five of the 6 Canadian goals, the last 5 of them have come from their blue line. Good work in the corner to fight this puck free. Cormier will find the puck to Zellweger. That's a great screen by Neighbors. That shot goes clean into the top of the net. And Canada's got their 3rd power play goal. The Czechs have done a terrific job killing that for the first minute and a half. 1 puck battle lost, a quick wrist shot, and the Everett Silvertip defender, Owen Zellweger, is on the board.
He's one of 6 Canadian players who was part of that gold medal winning team at the under-18s last spring in Texas. In his 3rd year in Everett. 2nd round pick of Anaheim. Now Cooley with it. Back across to Cooley. So Cormier and Neighbors draw the assists on the goal on the power play by Zellweger. Svozil looks ahead for Mishak, and icing called against the Czechs.
Jake Neighbor, or Xavier Bourgault, has gone to the Canadian locker room here as he gets stood up at the blue line by Svozil. Went straight down the tunnel. back to the locker room.
Canada using the Edmonton Oilers room, which the term spacious doesn't begin to do justice.
The locker rooms have changed over the last 20 years.
Yes, yeah. In comes Sordiff with a chance now. Sordiff shoots it that high and wide.
He's really had a good third period. I've been impressed with him. He's got a chance to use his speed. He gets in on the forecheck. Made a terrific defensive play as well earlier on a dangerous cross crease pass.
Neighbors plays that down, knocked down by Malik. Bouncing puck in front. Kolachek couldn't clear it away. Kolachek's lost his stick. In comes Neighbors. Jake Neighbors works in. And he was straightened up by Chenevy. And now in the corner, Sordiff knocked his man down. And that player, Tehacek, is still down, and a penalty coming to Canada's Justin Sordiff. And the referees are going to confer here and see how severe this penalty is going to be.
The 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship is brought to you in part by the 2022 Chevrolet Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Getting some attention on the Czech bench.
Yeah, Tehacek was run over in the corner here. Yeah, that's interference for sure. Oh, the shoulder of Sordiff catches him right on the button, and Tehacek's 5'9", and Sordiff just 5'11", but hits like a truck. The size difference, the puck had gone, and the interference call is made.
Yeah, so just an interference call. The officials conferred on it. So the Czechs got a power play here, 5:22 to go. You wonder if they'd consider pulling their goaltender at some point during the power play. As Konechny steps in for the face-off. Wins it back to Kulik. Svozil for Goots. Back to Svozil. Kulik tees it up and shoots, and Grant got a piece of that to knock it wide. And a bounce by Svozil. Yuri Kulik. Plays in the Czech Extra League.
Another draft-eligible player. He's shown some pretty nice wheels here today. There's been a couple of plays where he's been noticeable. And
he comes now on Guhle. Guhle plays that back to Svozil. Back to Kulik, walks in, drops it back to Goot. And Goot, that hard centering pass is knocked away by Greg, but not out. That back across, Kulik. He just shoots at the mask of Garand. And a bouncing puck goes to Cooley, who fires it by Svozil and back down the ice. David Spacek for Mishak. That pass rather bounces back to Spacek. And Perfetti banks it off the glove. Pavel Novak is back out. Novak has a power play goal for the Czechs in the game. He collides there with Bork. As Mishak brings it in, drops it back to Kolachek. For Mishak, shoots from a sharp angle. Knocked away by Garand. Puck back to center ice, and Spacek gathers it back up. He was born in Columbus, was David Spacek, when his dad was playing there for the Blue Jackets. His dad won a gold medal at the Olympics in '98 with the Czech Republic. And 3 World Championship gold medals as well for the Czechs, who were the dominant country in World International Hockey at the early part of the 21st century. 2 shots on goal for the Czechs in that power play. Sordiff out of the box, moves it ahead, in on Morissette. And Moravec retreats, and that pass just missed Neighbors. Now Neighbors back with it. To the point he goes. And that shot taken there by Lambos is steered away by Malik. 3 to go here in the third period. Lambos in deep for Canada. Sordiff trying to pick it out as well. And Sordiff taken down by Moravec. Now Mishak hands it back for the Czechs. Rolls back down to the Canadian zone. Garand leaves it there. Lambos across to McTavish. Mason McTavish. Up ahead for Johnson. Rink wide pass for Lambos, and Carson Lambos flips it back down to the check zone. Now Bork on it. Maverick Bork centers it. And that's taken back by Svozil. Lead pass to Kulik. Drops it back. Svozil in. Shoots. Garand save. Kulik with a good chance. Turned away by Garand. Bork had lost his glove, and now Gooley lifts it ahead and finds Johnson. In on to Hacek. And to Hacek back the other way for the Czechs. Gains center ice and banks it back down to the Canadian zone. Gooley for Wright. Cross he goes to Zellweger. And Bedard feeds it back in for Perfetti. Poked at by Seeley. He finds Bedard. Connor Bedard shoots. Fired that wide. There's that calling card you talked about, Ray. His shot, the release is elite.
Puck just explodes off his stick. He takes virtually no time to deliver it.
Perfetti tries to find Bedard, but goes back the other way to Sabrango. Donovan Sabrango looks ahead. That pass goes off the stick of Perfetti. Up and out of play.
Started as the 13th forward. By the end of the first period, he was on a regular line here. He takes the turnover pass, a little draw, drag, and shot deflected wide of the net, but head up, changing direction of the shot. I would think we'll see Bedard start in this position in Canada's second game. You see the two of them, Shane Wright and Bedard, sitting side by each. Shane Wright's chosen to wear a cage.
Right.
Bedard the bubble. Both of them, of course, wear half visors in their respective leagues. I think I would choose the bubble. I think it's just closer to what you normally wear.
A little warmer.
Rink is cold.
There is that. You pointed that out several times.
So, of course, they're probably a little warmer than we might be.
Time winding down here in the third period. It has been an adventurous day one for Team Canada. Down 2 in the first period. Now up 3 in the third. And played back down the Canadian zone as Cormier goes back. An icing called against Czechia.
Well, after a rocky start, after McTavish had given them a 1-0 lead, Canada gives up to 3 straight goals, but gets the first of 5 goals from their defense from Owen Power to make it 3-2. Donovan Sabrango makes it 3-3 by the end of the first period. Power, a couple of power play goals in the second, and Zellweger a power play goal here in the third. And after the 3-goal first period, Canada really shut down the Czech offense. They didn't get much.
Novak flips that down in the Canadian zone. Sabrango banks it off the glass, and Canadian fans get a chance to cheer for their team in Edmonton for the first time after the bubble last year. And they see the home side win it 6-3 on day one. Canada next faces Germany on Tuesday. The Czechs are back in action tomorrow against the Germans.